What's up, everybody? Good night, and welcome to the Fantasy and Frames Draft Show. Guys, tonight we are going to bring you the first of several draft strategy shows that we're going to be doing this summer. And in honor of all of our rookie drafts kicking off this week, it's Dynasty night. We have got Tyler Heil in the house. Are you guys ready to do it?
Oh, yeah.
No. There we go.
Let's do
Not
it.
everybody at once.
Yeah, not everybody at once. All right, let's go, guys. Guys, welcome back. It's Thursday night, draft show. We are here. We are ready to do our strategy shows for you tonight. And obviously, like I said, we are doing the Dynasty talk today because everything Dynasty is happening this week. Guys, how are we doing tonight? How's everybody feeling?
We're doing so I can't. Sorry, my PR team won't let me answer that.
Okay. Was that okay? I just got that, Kevin. I'm sorry.
The way you said good night, though, it's like we're wrapping it up already.
That's exactly, Kevin, man. Dude, get out of my head, bro.
Like a 15-second show.
That was exactly what I thought. I was like, is it over?
We're done. That's it.
That's what my wife says about every Friday night.
Boom, we're done.
That's it. It's over.
Economical 27-second show.
Hey, sometimes that's all I need. Guys, again.
That's what she said.
There you go. See? And this is why Tyler is back, guest hosting with us tonight. Well, I guess you're not hosting tonight. It's unless you just really want to. You can just drive the bus if you want.
I draw the line at Tyler hosting, okay?
Yeah. Stacey, you were better at it when I was full-time. You're better at it now.
Well, don't say that yet, because I could still screw this up. It's only 2 minutes and 15 seconds in. Guys, as promised, Tyler Heil is here to help us talk through our Dynasty strategy questions. Because if you've been watching Fantasy and Frames for a while, obviously you know Tyler from Dynasty 365, where we did the show for like a year plus 2 years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
we did it for 2 years, and I did it for a couple of years before that.
Yep. Exactly. So we're getting the band back together. Yeah, if you have questions, comments, draft questions, Dynasty questions, trade questions, throw them on in that chat. We will get to them throughout the night. I do want to talk about some news and updates first before we get started down the Dynasty road, because we got to talk about George Pickens going to Dallas. How do we feel about this? What does this do for him at all? Does this boost him in your ranks? Does this drop him a little bit? How are we feeling?
Great, honestly. For Pickens, like that's what Dak Prescott needs, and that's something that CeeDee Lamb doesn't like. CeeDee Lamb can just play flanker and be like perfectly fine and just rack up targets inside, Pickens outside, and then it doesn't even matter whether it's Tolbert or whatever the ghost of Jonathan Mingo, whoever else they throw out there on the outside. But it's great for Lamb. It's great for Pickens. Pickens is like what, a 5th round guy, an underdog right now, should probably come up a round at least. So like it's a net positive for everybody because we were hoping that Dallas would draft somebody. Ted McMillan didn't get picked by the Panthers. Likely he would have been to the Cowboys, but I'd say it's probably even. Like if they drafted Ted McMillan versus getting Pickens in there via trade, it's great for everybody.
I think Pickens is actually better for the Cowboys offense than Ted would have been. I mean, if you look, Dak's best years, Lamb, and then the deep threat was Amari Cooper, right? And George Pickens is going to move into that role. I don't understand the people that are hating on this from fantasy particularly, because that's what's really kind of surprised me is he's going from an offense that threw it 32 times a game last year, 27th in the NFL, to a team that threw it 40. Now, granted, that was a lot because Dak was out. They were down. They sucked. But in the last 2 years Dak started, they were throwing it basically an average of 38 times per game. So you're talking about 6 more pass attempts per game. Dak has been top 12 each of his last 2 healthy years in deep ball completion percentage. And, I mean, George Pickens, again, I know I get a lot of homer talk, and sometimes it is, but overall I'm pretty fair with Georgia guys, and normally I'm right. I think Pickens is a really, good wide receiver. And I think when, he has somebody like Lamb as a true number one, he's going to be great. Now, I don't know if I'd want him to be like my number one go-to guy all the time that you need to move the chains and everything, but as him the number two option with CeeDee Lamb, I think this offense is going to be very good. And who is Dallas going to run the ball with? Like, let's be honest. Like, I know that, Kevin has luckily Kevin taught me, I took him in the rookie draft I did last week, and I'm hopeful he is the option, but none of those guys scream to me they're going to be running the ball a lot. So I think it's going to be a pass-happy offense. And if Dak stays healthy, he has consistently been a top 10 fantasy quarterback in his healthy seasons. And I think that you could argue Pickens and Lamb, from a talent perspective, are the best 1-2 punch he's had at wide receiver in his time in Dallas.
Tyler, what do you think about this? You've been way too quiet.
Well, I don't understand the sentiment of stock down for Pickens. Pickens has finished wide receiver 39, 30, and 42 in his time in Pittsburgh. If that doesn't improve, I would be stunned. He's going to a real quarterback in Dak Prescott. Hopefully they'll be able to figure out the offense. I don't know if the head coach is going to be able to handle the big personality of George Pickens, but regardless, they're going to be on the field, and Pickens and CD are going to get peppered with targets left and right. So I feel really good about it. I agree with Kevin that he should make at least a round jump in underdog. But I'm happy with it. I know a lot of people are trying to sell him right now in leagues because they believe that the value is higher than it should be, and I would be buying right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just thank everybody for hanging out in the chat with us. Like I said, again, if you have questions, comments, throw them on in there. Guys, do we know why the new Pope hates the Minnesota Vikings?
He's from Chicago.
Yeah.
He's a Villanova guy. Like, when he stepped onto that balcony, the first thing you should have said was bring back the classic Big East with Syracuse and Villanova, Georgetown, Seton Hall, Providence, all those teams. Like, you should have said that, or because he's a Bears fan, like, fuck the Packers. Something. Like, he needs to get the people riled up.
First American Pope in, 2,000 years. What is more American than a Pope talking shit? So I'm with you here, Kev.
Yeah. Leo's going to announce. He's going to announce the Bears pick at next year's draft.
That would be amazing. It's like now to in between like Ashton Kutcher and some dude I've never heard of.
Yeah, you're going to come out and bless the Bears.
There you go.
Somebody needs to. Right. Go pack
when
it up.
Erica's not here to defend herself. How dare you, Stacey?
Sorry. Erica's getting in some much needed rest. It is Mother's Day week. She has just been working to the bone. So
the flower game.
The flower game. This is like it's Super Bowl right now. So we'll see Erica back next week. Guys, just a reminder, Fantasy and Frames, we are on Discord now. So if you are loving the Discord community, jump on in and get into that chat. Just a reminder for everybody, this year draft show, we're not doing drafts every single week. We are doing some draft show strategy shows, and we're going to be doing some drafts. We're going to be just mixing it all up for you. So next week we are going to be doing a draft. We'll tell you more about that at the end of the show, so you got to stay tuned. Again, I just want to thank Tyler for coming on and hanging out with us tonight to chat Dynasty. So this is going to be a fun show, guys. Like I said, get all your Dynasty questions on in. There we go. Oh, Jim has not really a question for us, but we're on a question for us. So Jim and I are on the clock in a best ball draft right now. It's a 28 rounder, and it's our wide receiver 4. Jim wants to know if we should draft Godwin, Hunter, or Addison.
Best ball, I would take Hunter.
Who else you have?
So we had the second overall pick, so we went Chase, and then we doubled down and went Higgins. We were going to get Burrow later, but somebody decided to be a jerk and take him from us.
How dare they?
Rude. So then we went James Cook, Breece Hall, and Rome Odunze.
I'd still take Godwin.
Godwin.
Ooh.
That's my thought was Godwin.
Is he going to play the whole season?
Well, it wasn't a ligament thing. It was an ankle. So that's why I'm not as concerned whether it was obviously compared to somebody with like an ACL tear or something like that. Like it's a dislocated ankle. I'm more fine with trusting like Godwin to be good for week 1 on something like that versus because obviously nobody heals the same with an ACL or even with something like that. So.
Elijah, Brandon. She drafted Elijah Higgins.
Elijah Higgins.
Could have been Jaden.
That's true. Yeah, I like Godwin. So Jim, if you want to go ahead, I like Godwin.
Jim, why don't you say screw Kevin and Stacy and listen to your boy and take Travis Hunter?
That is the fun Havers pick.
It is fun, and this is like a $39 one, so it's not like we're talking like a ton of money here. We got 8 hours. We got 8 hours on the clock. We can.
Oh wow, it's or what do you call it? A slow draft.
It's my favorite.
And it is definitely a slow draft.
Yeah, my absolute not favorite kind. Jamie wants to know if I can give you the third quarterback in the 2022 draft.
Running back.
Running back. Who scored more than 10 rushing touchdowns. That's your secret stat of the day if you guys are watching me on the TikTok. Like an 800-year-old lady that just said that. No, I'm not going to tell you the answer, Jamie. Figure it out yourself. You're a smart guy. You can figure it out.
Wait a minute. Are you talking about this year or?
Yeah, well, scored 10 or more rushing touchdowns in this season, but is a running back from the 2022 draft class. There's three.
I'd have to look at the draft listing. I don't got it off the top of my head.
Let me look. Okay. All right, let's throw it in the chat, guys. There's one more, and it's gross. So think about that, Jamie. It's from Jorge's favorite team. All right.
Oh, Robinson.
Oh God.
Brian Robinson.
Oh yeah, Brian Robinson. Yeah.
That is gross.
Sorry.
I'm a spoiler. What do you want me to do?
I need a palate cleanser after that.
Yeah, just take a little sip of something. So let's get started talking about our dynasty, questions because we are 11 minutes and 58 seconds on into the show. Tyler, I want to start with draft basics, and I want to talk about like what is the biggest mind shift that players need to make when you are moving from doing a redraft and just getting into like dynasty season. What do you think is the biggest mind shift people need to be looking to make?
So I don't think you want to shift too much, but you need to keep a reasonable amount of ageism in your head. Are we talking a startup here?
Yeah, we can talk startup. We can talk just regular, if you're jumping in, maybe getting an orphan.
I would do startup overall because that's what I would. That's how personally. Okay. Now you can do it either way, but I would recommend if you're going to start it. What did Parcells used to say? If I'm going to make dinner, I want to buy the groceries. So if you're going to do a dynasty, to me, do it from the start.
What a boomer metaphor.
Was, so.
Kev, I'm old. What do you want me to do?
You said it. I'm just.
Well, I mean, I'm not denying it. If it gets past 9:30, I'm ready to go to bed.
So yeah, you want to keep an appropriate amount of ageism, all about balance. You want to keep in mind what they can do for you right now and what they can do for you in the future. But I've seen great success with people going all older players in a startup. Short-term success, I guess short-term gain for long-term pain. That's not really the saying, but that's kind of what it is. If you're going to pick Travis Kelce, Matt Stafford, people like that, they're going to produce for you, but you're going to have to, that's future Tyler's problem, I guess, is what you would say.
Well, so how do you balance like drafting for like immediate production versus like your long-term like upside? And I want to bring up our orphan team that we have because we have some really old running backs on our orphan squad.
That's probably why one of the reasons that this team is an orphan.
Looking a lot better, Keith.
It is.
I'm just saying, normally when somebody's asked me to pick up an orphan team, you start looking at the roster and you're going, so basically somebody did a shitty job with this dynasty team and now they're trying to pawn it off on me. It's like, I'm not a dynasty expert.
We
challenge.
I
was just going to say, you got to split the difference though. Like if you're going into a startup, you should have something in mind of what you want to do. Like you can't go, I'm going to take all these young guys and then go around and say, I'm going to take, the entire list of AARP players. Because then that's a nice way to finish 7th and put your roster in basically purgatory.
But don't you think, Kev, that you definitely need to spend capital leaning more on young guys to me and start? At least that's been my strategy. And I mean, if you can get somebody like a Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, that's like the perfect situation where they're both young and already one of the most, productive receivers in the game. I just try to avoid guys that have been in the league at least 7 years or more until, maybe the 6th, 7th round, then that's when I think those guys start to really become a value because they'll kind of be overlooked.
Yeah. And that's context dependent too, because you can factor in contracts too with that, where guys have at least a cushion of security. Like Chris Godwin just got paid again, I believe. So
Yep.
you can kind of take a little bit of that into effect. You want to be cognizant of as far as a player maybe declining, you're not going to go out and draft Debo Samuel, it was any decent cat or guys like that. You're not going out and getting Adam Thielen.
Yeah.
But
Mike Evans is even a better example, right? Like even as good as he is, Evans is what, 31?
Right. But Father Time is undefeated.
Exactly.
So that's where you got to be what is my roster doing? Am I going to have all these young guys and at least have constant production now with a Mike Evans, or am I just going to go all in and go, you know what, I'll figure it out as far as play the volume game with youth, because not everybody hits, not every player that, even just like this draft class, between all the wide receivers, whether it's, McMillan or, Matthew Golden or Luther Burden or Jack Besh or any of those guys, there's going to be out of the top 10, you're probably going to get 4 or 3 decent hits off of those 10 players. Not everybody's going to be what you're drafting them out to be. So I think you have to play the volume game there, especially if you're going that extreme with
that young
on
a
startup.
Right?
Yeah. You got to play the volume game.
Yeah. Mix it up a little bit. If you're going young, you're going Amon-Ra St. Brown, you're going Garrett Wilson. Do you want your third receiver to be Zay Flowers, or do you want your third receiver to be Tyreek Hill?
Right.
Because I think I would go for the immediate production of Tyreek Hill over the hope of Zay Flowers.
Tyler, is there a position that you try to target more than other? Obviously, I know the scoring settings, play into that. Like the league I just did was a tight end premium. Jorge rightly pointed out, you have 6 tight ends. And I'm like, well, they get the most points. So I'm, and you can start multiple flexes. But is there a position overall you just think is more valuable? Because running backs, we know, wear down, a lot quicker. And QBs, I know sometimes it's hard, but I mean, if you have somebody say Lamar Jackson, would you rather have a Lamar Jackson, 2-3 years in, or would you rather have a Justin Jefferson? I think that's kind of what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, I think I tend to lean toward the wide receiver, because if I can build my team around 3 really damn good wide receivers, I can fill in production at the running back spot. I can fill in production at the quarterback spot. And when you look at it, I can fill in production at the tight end spot, because am I going to get Sam Laporta? No, probably not. But everyone else is going to suck at tight end too. So
unless you have Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
Mr. Automatic.
Yeah. Brock Bowers, number 1 overall for Keith at all times.
We're the most pro Brock Bowers show out there, and have been for a long time.
Find another show. I'm just saying. That's how it's in.
Well, okay, so some of our, drafts out there include free agents, right? Like the one that we're doing right now. And so
how does that work? I've never done one where there's
a 10 rounder. So all of those guys are available too. So that's a question that I wanted to ask, because I think
is that a salary deal, Stacy?
No salary deal. I don't do math, Keith. So here, at what point do you start when you're looking at some of these rookies, some of the later round rookies? We're in round 6 of this draft right now. We're still in round 6 of this draft. I have it pulled up here. Maybe I can pull it up on the screen. At what point do you start looking at the veterans that are available versus some of the rookies that are available and thinking, all right, some of these guys are on the free agent list. Should I just take a flyer on a rookie, or maybe, a veteran might be good? Because I don't know, Tyler, I don't know if you saw this, but I took Kareem Hunt earlier today.
What?
In the first 5 rounds?
No, in the round 6.
Whew. All right. Well, I'm actually bringing it up right now to try to give some examples of where we're at.
Oh, oh no. Yeah, I took I took Noah Gray and then I took Kareem Hunt.
Yeah. So in that case, I probably wouldn't have taken Kareem Hunt, but someone that went a few picks later that would make me prioritize a veteran is something like Quentin Johnston. You know, he sucked for his first 2 years, sure, but he had some flashes.
That's how you really felt, Tyler.
I never thought he was going to be good, and he's never been good.
Yeah, Quentin Johnston, meet Trey Harris.
Exactly. But I will take that shot on a veteran receiver on a Jim Harbaugh team and a Greg Roman offense over a guy who's probably not going to play football this year.
Yeah, you taking him, or are you going to take? I'm trying to find Dante Thornton, who got drafted by the Raiders, the second wide receiver they drafted. Like at that point, you get like I can understand the appeal of like taking a veteran, like even like a running backs. That's the thing. I will draft like any running back that I know has been like drafted. I will select them because it almost doesn't even
law of
matter
averages,
anymore.
right, Kev?
Right. It doesn't matter with like draft capital. You know, it used to be such a hard and fast rule about day 1 and day 2 running backs, and now we're starting to see. We saw so many round 4, round 5 running backs last season. We ended up getting a hit on Bucky Irving, and we saw that again this season. You know, this draft with a lot of round 4 like Bayshell Tootin, a lot of
Scatterboo.
Fourth. Right, exactly. Like guys that are going to have roles. Like I think that kind of shift, is now we're starting to see some of the fruits of that to where it doesn't matter as much if they miss out and aren't drafted on day 1 or day 2.
Stacy, before you get to that question, because Jamie, how dare you, saying that Biggs from Player Profile is the biggest Bowers guy you know? Okay, I said last year in April that Bowers would be the number 1 tight end in football last year, and obviously in Dynasty moving forward. I wasn't 100% sure about this season, but I'm saying that nobody's a bigger Bowers mark, and if they are, it's the guy right below me. So, no offense, Biggs. I don't think so.
Well, so to Jamie's question, or really comment rather, about the Biz taking him in a fast draft, we're actually going to have Matt Kelly on next week, and we're going to be doing a lot of fast drafts. So if that's something you're into and you really enjoy, make sure to check us out next week because he's going to be here. We're going to be doing that live on air. Yeah.
And so is Jamie's question about Ricky White. Like, man, Seattle's backfield is already just like the opposite of what a lot of these teams are, where they have multiple bad running backs. I actually like. I know Walker's had issues staying healthy, and is Charbonnet a true 3-down back? But I just like. I don't know. It scares me.
Well, let me tell you about Ricky White. Like, if there is one sentence that could sway you on Ricky White, per sleeper, Ricky White, Seahawks add punt blocking wideout. That should give you all the context clue you need to probably not draft a core 4 special teams guy that happens to play wide receiver. I mean, good luck.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jamie. I'm an idiot.
Later. With your 4th round rookie pick.
Tyler, you got a fan in the chat over here. That's on Mr. Chris Battisteel. What's up, Chris?
That must be one handsome guy.
Chris is just like basking in the glow of being up 2-0 on those stinking Florida Panthers.
Did you hit on Chris's wife too, Tyler, or just mine?
Just yours. So, never mind.
He is, Frank. I'm a moron. Sorry, Frank. He is definitely a wide receiver. I'm an idiot.
I mean, barely. I mean, apparently.
Now you know more about the Seattle backfield. All right, guys. So I do want to talk a little bit about, like, we've got some young QBs in this draft that we're not really super excited about. So, like, are we more willing to, reach on somebody like that in a class where it's not the best QB, or would we rather forget those guys? Let's go with somebody else that we feel like is in a better landing spot, like a running back or a wide receiver. I'm just kind of like a little curious, right? Because this is kind of the first year where I think, is everybody on here kind of a little ambivalent about all the QBs that we have to choose from this year?
Yeah, like miss me with most of those guys because even like Cam Ward, who we know is probably going to be getting 13, 14 starts at minimum, goes into an offense that just signed Tyler Lockett, then that's a nice kiss of death for your rookie season right there, as your wide receiver too. But no, if there's anything like that you can do, it's like hit up the trade market, like, because you've got quarterbacks that you can get for like nothing. Like you can get Sam Darnold for like a 3rd round rookie pick. You could probably get Dak Prescott for a 2nd. You could probably get, looking at, like, you could probably get Geno Smith for a 3rd. Like, I would much rather have any of those guys than any of the rookie quarterbacks like Jackson Dart and, right on down the line. I would much rather have any of those veteran quarterbacks that are pretty secure in their role. I would say Sam Darnold's probably the least secure, even though he got paid. He just got Jalen Milroe behind him. So that's another thing. But yeah, I would much rather have some of those guys than any of the rookies. I would not want to use one of my rookie picks on any of those quarterbacks. This is not the class to do it. Like, it's already down. If you need a quarterback that badly, I would just try to trade for one.
So in the startup draft, or excuse me, Dynasty League that I'm in with Optimus, we did the regular initial draft, and then we did the rookie draft last week. And the first quarterback was Cam Ward. He was not gone till 5th. And then I still can't get over this. Tyler Shuck was the 2nd QB taken at 2-3, which the confounding part about that is that they have Caleb Williams, Baker Mayfield, and Sam Darnold. So, like, I could have maybe understood if they thought in a super flex they needed 2 QBs. I didn't get that.
He's the oldest quarterback at all.
Dart went after that, and then Sanders and Milroe didn't go till late in the 3rd. Howard and Gabriel late in the 4th, and then Quinn Ewers was the 2nd to last pick. So I think that draft kind of shows what Kevin is saying, that they weren't really held with too much value other than again, the Dart and Shuck picks kind of surprised me a little bit.
Yeah.
Not great, Bob.
Not great. How do we at all take into account like running back longevity when we are thinking about our draft decisions?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't take running backs thanks to Kev, basically getting me on his side to where now it's just like, again, this team that I drafted, I feel like I'm really good at every position except for one, which is running back, where it is, it's pretty rough. Like, luckily I do have Breece Hall, so I got that going for me. But outside of that, I have Charbonnet, Marshawn Lloyd, Austin Eckler, Keaton Mitchell, Damian Pierce, Jordan Mason, Justice Hill, and then obviously the backs that I added Jadon Blue in the rookie draft. So the backfield is weak, but that's, again, a league that I only have to start 2. So I just look at it that, as Kev has really converted me, I'd rather have these receivers tight end. And again, as super flex tight end, especially, take chances on those guys. And you just hope, like what Austin Eckler did last year, I'm fine if he's the number 2, back on my team. Like, I have no problem if he puts up the stat line he did when he was healthy last year.
Don't sleep on Jordan Mason.
I hope not. That's the one I'm hoping is a home run, because the trade actually happened after the draft. So I kind of got lucky, right?
Yeah. Like, as far as running backs go, like, if I'm doing a startup, I'm not I'm not, that position is like not even in my mind, but I'll take like guys that like drop, like a guy like Tony Pollard that has some
he's
security,
so undervalued right now. Oh my God.
Yeah. Like that. And I did a startup before the draft, and remember the Titans were talking about, hey, maybe we're going to take a running back. And I don't even think they ended up taking a running back in the draft, but Tony Pollard is pretty secure in like a 65-70% of the carries workload. So I'm happy to take a guy like that. But like, by and large, if I'm competing, like, that is when I will acquire running backs or acquire picks to draft running backs.
What do you normally give up for a running back, Kev, or does it just depend on how good they are? Like, let's put it this way, what's the most you would give up even for a stud back when you're competing?
I'd give up I will give up all my picks. I don't care. Like, I just think those are the people want to try to stockpile them, and we don't know, to quote what I forget what the show was. We don't know shit about fuck when it turns in when we're talking about, future picks and all that. We don't know anything about like who's going when, who's declaring. We have an idea, but for the most part, people hold on to them. And I honestly don't understand it to some degree where, if I want picks bad enough, I'll go out and acquire them again. But other than that, it's like almost like a free asset that I can trade. If people are so pick heavy, like take my picks. That's fine. I will take the players that will win me the league. That's perfectly fine. I will trade you a first and a second for like DJ Moore and a valuable, mid-tier running back. And that will be enough to put me over the top. And I'll just worry about that when I sell off my team, get picks, and redo the whole thing all over again.
Who was the GM that had the shirt that said "fuck those picks"?
Is that Les Snead?
Yeah, there you go. That's huge stuff. Tyler, are you on the same page with these two?
To a point. I don't know if I'm that diehard about it, because I think you can take a really good running back, and if you are rebuilding, you can take that value. You can go based off tiers and trade and get picks and get wide receivers back in return. I'm just not in the business of giving up on a talented player, not drafting rather a talented player and taking a less talented player at wide receiver when I can get more value.
Yeah. Well, okay, so let's talk about some trades. How do you guys approach trade strategy during a startup? Are you aggressive early? Are you playing it safe? Like what's kind of your mindset there?
I want to add on to this because it was shocking to me how many teams in both this one and the startup I did last year, which it's actually like a pretty expensive buy-in each year. There was at least 3 teams in both of them that were just like, the minute the original draft was over, they were wheeling and dealing for draft picks. And I just don't understand that. Like last year, I actually did, because I felt like that rookie class was really good. Like there was a lot of really good like quarterbacks, receivers, running backs. This year, I just didn't feel like what's the saying? It was a pretty bold strategy, in my opinion. But I mean, is that a normal thing that you have people that immediately in these startups, basically once the original drafts with, because you have that first rookie draft, like a month or two later, however long, they immediately seriously had acquired, if you have 5 picks, for instance, they had like 15 by the time the draft came around.
Yeah. So like,
is that normal? I mean, is that something y'all see?
Yeah, it's certainly something I see. Do I participate in it? No, I don't. I tend to play it more safe in startup strategy. I'll stick and pick. I'll trade back if I can, but overall, I'm playing it safe. I'm picking where my picks are assigned, and I'll hold on to my first round rookie picks and stack my roster that way.
Yeah, I made one trade like in this group of rookie drafts, and I think it was the 309 and 409 because I traded my 1 and 2, and I ended up packaging the 309 and 409 for the 301 to grab Harold Fannin, and I'm like, I'm good. Like he fell too far. It's tight end premium. I'll take the guy that should never be blocking and likely probably won't block for the Browns this year. I've talked about him as far as a guy that where I think the Browns could play more, 2 tight ends, so he could be viable this season without them even going out and getting a wide receiver. I don't count Deontay Johnson as a wide receiver anymore. So I'm sorry, Jamari Thrash. I guess you're the one getting the short end of the stick here, but yeah, like I'll package picks just to move up to get a guy I like and making sure that I get him, and then it's fine with me.
Yep, and I'd second that about Harold Fannin. The Browns are going to play a lot of 12 personnel. They're going to get back to who they are and who Kevin Stefanski is, and back to when the offense. People forget because their defense was so abysmal prior to 2023. It was a shit show. I remember telling Keith, I think it was during the 2023 season, week 1, I'm like, play all of your running backs against the Browns.
Yeah, you did.
But they had a top 10 offense for 3 years running just because Kevin Stefanski knew how to scheme it up. He knew what he wanted. He played his 12 personnel. He had his 2 wide receivers out there, and he ran the hell out of the ball. And that's what they're going to get back to. And that you can see that. They took a tight end and 2 running backs and 2 quarterbacks with 6 draft picks.
Yep.
But they had to do the quarterback thing with their situation, right? Because like your 2 options are Flacco and a guy you're actively trying to, whether it be through insurance or they're trying to get rid of Watson the easiest way they can or not pay for him. And they don't have they're cash strapped because of the Watson deal. So I thought it was brilliant taking the 2, take 2 shots at it. They're not costing you anything. And if one of them pans out, like you've just kind of saved this 2-3 year window that they still got to pay for Watson.
Yeah, they should be like the Browns at most this year should be putting on leather helmets and playing football like it's 1920.
What's the George Clooney and the dude from the Office movie? Leatherheads, yeah.
Yeah, like run the wishbone offense, run the wing T, run the veer. Like you're winning 4 games if you're lucky.
Oh, Tyler, does that make you sad?
No.
He's a Browns fan. He's dead inside. What are you talking about, Stacey?
I'm numb.
Go watch We Are Marshall. Take some tips from Bobby Bowden.
Oh my gosh, guys. Andrea has a question over here. So she has somebody in a league that wants St. Brown or Nico from her. They won't say what he's giving her. Andrea, that seems really weird. But what would, I guess, Andrea, are you asking like what would be enough to give up St. Brown or Nico?
I would need a lot.
2 to 3 firsts minimum for either.
How many?
2 to 3.
Yeah, I mean, I think Nico, you could argue, is the most valuable young wide. Like, I think Stroud's going to have a huge bounce back year this year, and really, if you look what Nico's done the last 2 years, he's got a real case that he's the best wide receiver in football.
Yeah, and trade etiquette, I'm ignoring that person. I'm not answering them.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Like, what's up with, I'm not going to tell you I want Nico and St. Brown, but you get to make the offer. It's like, no, you get to make the offer, and I get to decide because I'm on St. Brown and Nico Collins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
a weird.
We don't negotiate with terrorists. Are you fucking crazy?
That's right.
Like I have what you want. Like tell me what you're willing to deal, and then otherwise, like nope.
Or to tell them to take a ride on the reading train.
Let's go. Yeah. All right. So I think I know what Kev's answer to this is going to be, but I want to check with the rest of you guys. So if let's say you're rebuilding this year, right? And you've got the 101. I mean, obviously you're going Ashton Genty, probably. Probably. Do you build around him, or do you take that 101 and use it just to get a king's ransom for whatever else you need on your team?
Wait, what do you think my answer is going to be?
That you want to get rid of Genty, right? Or not
get
rid of
you take him, right?
I mean, I would take him, yeah. But I mean, if I can get one or more assets that are like, if I can get a Monra St. Brown plus for Genty, like sign me up for that.
Well, I mean, I get that, but I'm saying that in most circumstances, unless you're like somebody's going to overgive, you would, because I think Genty's just one of those guys that he's a special talent. The age is obviously great because he's a rookie. He went to an offense with no other running backs, not really any other.
He's the RB1 in Dynasty.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. That's what I was trying to get to. Thank you, Kev.
Sorry.
So I've got a good example.
Me, I can't ever get to the point. That's what I was trying to say.
What you got, Tyler?
I had this exact situation. I had the 101. I earned that damn 101.
That bad?
Yeah. My QB2 was Deshaun Watson.
Yikes.
So
I got one of those teams.
So I had the 101. I traded it off of it. I got 2 pieces in return. I got the 108 and I got Jordan Love. And
super flex.
Yes.
So, yeah. Okay. You just said, I'm sorry, QB2 is Watson. My bad.
And the way I looked at it is put Jordan Love in this class. Like, where is he going to go? He's going to go 102 at worst, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'll trade back 1 spot, and he might go 101 over Genty, knowing what we know now. So I will trade back 1 spot. I will take that high value position in Superflex with Jordan Love and a potential top 10 quarterback. And I somehow came away with Quinshot Judkins at 108.
Isn't it somewhat rare to see quarterbacks, especially at Love's age and skill level, to be traded in a Superflex?
Yeah, when it's not for a king's ransom, but people are calling Genty a king's ransom, so I'll take it.
He absolutely is, and that's and I think it speaks to kind of love to where, like, because even as a Packers fan, like, I don't even think Jordan Love is like a slam dunk quarterback asset, but you have the Love people who, God bless them all, they're in their little commune, and then you have the people that maybe on the other side of the coin, maybe I subscribe to that theory of where there's other quarterbacks I would much rather have. Like, I equate him to like a maybe CJ Stroud. I put him in that kind of, where it's like not quite like slam dunk QB1, but like maybe in the bottom of like the second tier of quarterbacks. But, I think he's very volatile, where you could get a pretty decent haul for a guy like that, but it's dependent on who you're trading with too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I want to talk about some roster building, more like philosophy with you guys. So here's what I want to know. Like, when should you prioritize talent, like value over need for your team? Like, is there a time that you're going to do that? And if there is, like, when would that be? Tyler, what do you think?
So that comes with a little self-reflection. You've really got to take a hard look at your team and where it stands in the league, and you've got to be honest with yourself. But, I mentioned it earlier of you really want to try to draft based on tiers, in my opinion. If you can I feel good about Quinshon Judkins, and I'm ever the pessimist as a Browns fan, and he went to the Browns, and I feel really good about him. So I will take him at 107 every time.
So you're telling us not to draft him since you have a good feeling about it and it's the Browns? Is that what you're saying?
In our fantasy and frames draft.
Hey, look, as a Falcons fan, I'm just saying Tyler is right. Like, when you get those gut feelings from losing franchises, sometimes you got to be careful. And it's even more scary when you feel really good about it.
They all got their stink on them. Like, when does it ever feel good to take a Browns player? Like, I know I literally just said I traded up to. I'm sorry, Tyler. I know I literally just said I traded up to take Harold Fannin, but like, the sentiment is there. Like, and I think you could kind of say the same thing with like the Titans with, Cam Ward and a lot of their skill position players. We talked about with the Panthers the last couple seasons. Maybe that's kind of turning a little bit toward the good side of things with them bringing in Ted McMillan and Bryce Young looking like a real boy at quarterback. So yeah, there's definitely the stink of like these franchises that continually get it wrong, affecting how you value your players. Like, I see, the Bears and what they're doing with Caleb Williams. They brought in a lot of offensive line help. And they also brought in, Luther Burden with Colson Loveland. Like, those two assets that go either in the end of the first or into the second round look great based on what we know about Ben Johnson. Yeah, the Bears have been like kind of a tire fire, but at some point it's going to end up being like, not to bring a hockey analogy into this, but like the Edmonton Oilers drafted like number 1 overall the end of the 2000s forever, and then landed Connor McDavid and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and all these players that at some point you're going to be good. That's where we're at with the Bears right now, where you've got Williams, DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, running back is a wash, but Cole Kmet, Loveland, Burden, it's almost too good to fail.
I hope you're right, because that's been the Falcons, and thus far it's not been working out that way.
Ben Johnson can't do it. Just throw the whole thing away.
Fingers crossed.
Burn it down. Like, how many years ahead are we thinking about when we're drafting, like in a dynasty league? Does that at all play into your thought process when you're putting together your team?
I look at age, like, more than how are they going to be in 5-6 years, personally.
Yeah, most leagues don't even last that long. Yeah.
I'm looking 3 years.
Yeah.
That's my limit. And yes, age absolutely plays into that. If I'm looking at a 27-year-old wide receiver, I'm like, well, the wide receiver cliff usually comes around 29 or 30, unless you're a Devontae Adams or a Mike Evans, or you're one of those unicorns. But you got to be very cognizant of the age of your players and the amount of years that they can give you. So 3 years is my answer.
Yeah, it's like Devo's. It's like, oh, here, like T. Higgins or Terry McLaurin. Like, that's perfect. Terry McLaurin doesn't have a lot of mileage on his, he's only played for 5 seasons, but he also came into the league as like a 24-year-old. So he's almost at 30 now. T. Higgins just got another contract, and I think he's 26. So, like, that's something you can weigh too. Terry McLaurin's like a pivotal player in Dynasty when you're thinking about it, because he's like right at the edge of, he's not young, but he's not really old either. And now just got a quarterback upgrade and is the clear top target on that team. Like, there's a lot of variables with a guy like that, it makes Dynasty, like, thinking about that is kind of crazy, but it's also fun too, especially if you get it right.
You guys are a bunch of Leonardo DiCaprios over here. Getting rid of people at the 27.
Yeah, I mean, 26 is when they got to go.
That's out the door.
His life, 26, his life is over.
That's AARP.
That goes for football players too.
Works in many different formats.
Yikes.
All right, guys. So I got some red flags that I have questions about too. So, like, if you're looking at a player thinking, like, how am I going to evaluate their long-term dynasty value? Do I want this person on my team? Is there a red flag that if you see it, you're like, absolutely not, I don't want this person at all on my team?
I mean, a lot of the stuff that we look at for fantasy, like yards per route run, stuff like that. I mean, that's really just efficiency metrics that you can kind of take a look at. And, that's all context dependent, no matter who you're looking at. When you're looking at a guy like Calvin Ridley, Ridley's going to go on his age 31 season. He's going to have Cam Ward as his quarterback for most of his games, but he's also the clear far and away top target in Tennessee. Now, what is that worth to you? Like, normally that would be a red flag. We're already talking about a guy that has to almost sustain on volume for him to be a fantasy asset. But there's also something worth to that, where he can be a guy that maybe teams trade for and don't have to trade a lot for to get a guy like that, especially like in the middle of the season. If you're a contending team, you need like a shot in the arm for a guy that's going to get you 7-8 targets a game. That's like a perfect example of a guy you could acquire on the cheap, where otherwise maybe on other teams he would be a red flag because we're already looking at like the demise of him. So that's
injury history is a big deal for me.
Injury history is definitely another one too, especially
for even the guys coming out of college. Like, again, I'm pumped about Michael Penix. I think he's got a chance to be really good, but I was shocked how early he went in, the draft we had last year, because 2 knee surgeries. We're the Falcons. Like, bad things happen, and that does concern me. Like, when these guys are coming out of college and they've already had multiple serious injuries, if you're spending a lot of capital on them, they may not be able to sustain another horrific injury and then come back at all.
Well, I mean, you guys saw the sad news about Jonathan Brooks today, right?
Yeah.
That was
Jordan Travis from Florida State just had to retire. I know he never played, but
even on the good season that he had last season, J.K. Dobbins, probably a reason why he hasn't been signed yet. Like, that's almost like, when's the other shoe going to drop?
Yep.
And no team wants to be left holding that bag.
Yeah. So I have another red flag question. Tyler, is a bad QB a red flag for a wide receiver? And I just went rogue. I just thought of this question right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, where the hell is that on the sheet? I mean, it depends on how bad we're talking. Like, if we're talking about, hey, Sam Darnold going into the Minnesota Vikings last year, do they have hope? But I don't feel good about the quarterback situation in Pittsburgh right now. Especially if you're going to have weak arm Mason Rudolph throwing the ball a year to the guy DK Metcalf, who's the deep threat, and he can run slants and run posts, and he's really good at that. Who the hell's going to get him the ball?
What if the team had Baker Mayfield, but then got rid of him? Like, like, would you feel confident then about them? I just realized Stacy's got your quarterback, man. I know you were a Mayfield fan. Like, you were mad right when they let him go, if I remember correctly, weren't you?
I was. I thought it was a bad decision. But
he's so much better than I thought, though. Like, I've been pleasantly surprised.
He needed to go through what he went through to be the quarterback that he is now, in my personal opinion. I don't think he ever would have gotten there in Cleveland.
Florida does magical things for people's careers. I'm just letting you guys know that.
Let's see other examples.
Well, also, actually, I was going to throw out, you look at it, you just talk about Calvin Ridley, with that shaky, like, what about like the Indianapolis, like Josh Downs or like Michael Pittman? Like, those are very,
AD Mitchell,
very, very volatile assets for sure. That is definitely, anytime you can go into a cave for 3 weeks, sensory deprivation and all that probably is not great for your dwindling accuracy on the football field. So probably a red flag.
Where are you guys at with the Rodgers thing? Because at this point, like, I mean, I do, because otherwise the Steelers are I just can't believe they're really okay with going in with the QBs they have. They had plenty of opportunities in the draft to take a QB, including Sanders, who was plummeting, where it wouldn't have cost them really anything. I don't know. Like, to me, if they don't sound Rodgers, it's like, what were y'all doing then? Like, what was the plan?
It's sad to say that Mason Rudolph is probably not the worst quarterback Arthur Smith has trotted out in the last 3 seasons.
Oh, I watched Desmond Ritter start 12 games. I can promise you, Kev, he is not the worst. And Marcus Mariota,
like, he's got the leg up over Desmond Ritter and Taylor Heineke for sure.
Yep.
Hey, I'll prioritize Will Howard in the 4th round of my rookie draft right now.
So, do you really think
I just threw my pen just all over the place.
You trying to do the Pat McAfee?
I was just gonna flip it over.
You got one of these?
No, I don't. We've got some questions in here about like specific players that I wanted to get to before we wrap. And Sean has a question in here about.
Do you need a beat before you wrap, or what's the deal here?
Yeah. So Sean wants to know. I can't do that, Keith. I'm way too white for that. So Sean wants to know, how do we feel about Pat Bryant in round 3? Sean, I love Pat Bryant. And I can only tell you that because he was really nice to me at the combine. So that's my main reason. And I
don't think you need to go to any more combines, because it feels like it's really slanted your opinion on players depending on how nice they were.
I just liked everybody. I just wanted them all to succeed, and it made me sad.
Stacy just refused to draft Cam Skadboo because he gave her the ick. So
exactly.
It's hard. It's for me.
In the group chat.
Great. Now we're going to have NFL running backs that are.
We all know Cam Skadboo listens to the show every week, right, Kev? And Stacy was his favorite person on the show, too, is what's said.
Like, I'm sorry to throw some water on the Pat Bryant stuff. It's very hard for me to, because we want to throw out all the comparisons about, Michael Thomas, I suppose, but it's hard for me to get super enamored with the 5th wide receiver on the Denver Broncos offense that doesn't play anybody outside of Courtland Sutton. So, I mean, I'll believe it when I see it, when I see him on the field, but I don't even think he gets on the field over like Devon Veely or like. It's hard because they switch out so many guys. It's like Pat Bryant is the most Sean Payton-esque wide receiver he could have gotten.
Marcus Colston.
Oh,
pretty much. Yeah.
Are y'all confident about Hampton with them? Because like I've seen a lot of people, saying he's potentially one of and he's the perfect back for Peyton's, comparing him to Kamara, and I'm just going exactly what
Harvey.
I mean Harvey. I'm sorry, Harvey. I
love Hampton. What are you talking about?
I have the same concerns that you're saying, Kev, with the backs, because it seemed like last year, the minute you kind of have an idea of who the running back was in Denver, or somebody have a good game or two, they'd have like 2 carries the next one.
Yeah, that's like the one thing you worry about. But 2nd round capital, the other guys kind of stink. Like, I'm willing to give Sean Payton a little wiggle room there because he knows how to manage a backfield. He's made water into wine for years with guys like Pierre Thomas and Travaris Cadet and all these other guys. Like, so many terrible, not Chris Ivory. I won't say terrible because they're not terrible, but like guys that probably played well over their skis. And
was that his last year with Jamal Williams, or was that after he left?
Who Pierre Thomas?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I am just out of it tonight. That was
Pierre
with the
Thomas
Lions.
was
He scored
like
all the touchdowns, right?
mid-2010s, I want to say.
If we're just naming
But,
guys, Tim Hightower.
Yeah,
Let's
like
go.
Tim Hightower came back, like he was gone for like 2 seasons and came back and had like a decent fantasy season. Like I trust him, and I get you were on like the dead legs of Javonte Williams and Jaleel McLaughlin, who, you know, is 140 pounds soaking wet, and Roderick Estime, who's probably better off managing Chili's. But yeah, give me RJ Harvey, and the draft capital matters at that point. His second round is pretty good for a guy like that, and he can catch passes. I'm good with him. I've talked too much.
Well, we got one more question. I wanted to ask you guys this. I saw it in the chat. Let me find it real quick, but it's about Bashal Tootin. Here we go. JJ wants to know, JJ's got a really cute dog as his picture. JJ, if you're still in the chat, I'm going to need to know that dog's name. What about Bashal Tootin this year? Are we taking him over ETN and Tank Bigsby?
Well, you don't need to take him over both of those guys, but you can still draft him, and it's perfectly cromulent. Like ETN could get traded. We never know, but you know, there's still running back needy teams out there, and Tank Bigsby was like a little bit efficient last season, but like he didn't matter. Like he doesn't catch passes at all. He hasn't caught a pass since the Clinton administration. So
you're on fire right now, bro.
I feel like Dennis Miller just throwing these
right.
No, but like Tootin is a good bet on a guy that's athletic and had some buzz pre-draft, and then still got picked in the 4th round. You know, it's a Liam Cohen offense. Liam Cohen took Bucky Irving in the 5th round last year. Yeah. So at least there's an eye there for like later round running backs. And I'm perfectly fine taking a guy like Tootin, who I think can work his way into carries. I mean, we know it's an ambiguous backfield already. Perfectly fine betting into a guy like Tootin versus like declining assets in Bigsby and ETN.
Yeah. Well, guys, that's going to do it tonight for us here at the Fantasy and Frames Draft Show. Thanks to everybody who's hanging out in the chat, giving us questions, everybody watching online. Tyler, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight and coming back. It's been way too long.
Happy to do it. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Make sure that you can give Tyler a follow. He is over at FF Tyler Heil. I didn't even have to look that up from the last time. I had it committed to memory when I put it in over on the X.
Kev, she won't memorize yours and is going to get it wrong every week, but she'll memorize Tyler's, even though he hasn't done a show with her in over a year.
And see, Tyler will tell you that I used to screw up his name and like skip him on stuff all the time.
Yep.
So
now, tale is all this time.
He's absolutely taking that role. Guys, again, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Make sure to give us a like, a subscribe, a follow over on YouTube, on X, on all of our social media. Just a reminder, next week we are doing an FFPC Best Ball Tournament team. If that's something that you want to draft, there are spots available. We'll be putting up a post with the league information for that later on. So make sure that you are following us so that you get all the info if you want to jump in and draft with us. Again, you can follow all of us individually as well. Keith is over at Keith Fleming. You can see stuff with Nico, who's here.
He's such a good boy.
Now. He's the best boy. You can follow Kevin over at K Tompkins II, Blue Sky Social. You can follow again Tyler at FF Tyler Heil. You can follow me at Stacey_Perez83 on all your socials
and America 108 on Twitter.
That's right. And Erica's not here, but if you want to follow Erica, she is at America with a K 108. Yes, Sean Green, it is the 125 Best Ball Tournament. So if you're a high roller, get on in there.
Hello.
I won a free team last year, so that's why I'm doing it. But guys, we will, like I said, be back next week with that. It is a special start time at 9:30. Keith, get a nap in before that goes. And
wait a minute, guys, what happened?
It starts at 9:30, man. I can't control the draft times. So
I got you. Yeah. No, that makes sense. No, I got you.
You're old.
Yeah, we're old. We're all gonna need before that.
No, I'm old, but I just meant that like I was about to bitch if it was, we changed, but I understand the draft's gonna start when the draft starts. I got you. Yeah.
Your show.
I got you.
Guys, again, thanks so much for hanging out, and we will be back next week.